So the monthly Fun GB has ended, and I want to do a recap video. Here is our final table. I think the top six was really strong. Cool spot also close behind them. Wavey, maybe if he had gotten more games done, you know, if he gets 4 more games done to put him kind of on par with the how many the top six played, and he can get, say, 3 wins and a loss, he jumps to 36, and he's looking really in that pack as well. But a very strong top six, with Akiyama finishing at 35, but only 1 loss. Turdz at 36. Tezuka just edging him at 37, though Turdz had the slightly better win rates. Delial at 40, though if he had finished and managed 3 wins in a row, he could have caught up to Yevon at 49, and myself with a really good run, which hopefully you saw on this channel, at 51. I think I could have easily done much worse. 1 win and 1 of my ties probably should have been losses. And so that's 4 points off, and I'm at 47 with 2 games to go. So if I'd been able to find my opponents, good chance I still clinch there. But I easily could have been well behind where I was, and I think I got lucky on randoms early. But wanted to start by saying congrats to me, because I'm quite proud of this. I think 15 wins to 6 ties to no losses is a pretty fantastic rate for me. And also, my differential is pretty good, and just very happy in general with how I played, and also that I think I am getting better at speaking while playing well. And that's something I'd like to keep getting better at. And I keep saying at the end of stuff that doesn't go well, and this is the end of, me trying to record during big things. But I enjoy it, and I want to be good at it, and I want to not feel like I'm throwing away games. And this felt really nice for that. So wanted to start off by saying congrats to me, feel quite proud of this. And then I wanted to talk about Yevon's tournament, because Yevon had an incredible run. He got done with all his games, which is an achievement in itself. Only he and Dalamar had the put in the effort to do so, and I think should be commended for it. But also, what an absurd run, He has as many wins as he has ties multiplied by losses. That's a weird metric, but, I was looking at it and it popped out at me. And just played fantastic. So I just wanted to look at some Yevon games. I haven't really looked at them. I don't really know what we're going to find. I've looked at one, I think, one of his games against Turdz. I obviously played a game against him. But I just thought it might be fun to look at his games and see what they looked like. And I'm specifically going to look at his wins, but we're going to go over, Yevon's whole tournament, or until I get bored. So he tied his first game against Lewin, which is not, and then he tied his second against Doom Train. So this isn't looking like one of those starts where you go on a crazy run, but here is his third game against Zoom. He starts with 5, 6, 7, 4, and 5. And I think this is a pattern. He quite often is going to play 5 starters, I think, because I did a brief skim of just what type of starters, because I claimed he had never started with a corner starter. I'm not sure that's true. We'll see as we go. But picking the weakest card in his hand, also a redundant card, right? 5, 8, 7, 3 does a lot of what 5, 6, 7, 4 offers directionally power-wise, and just throws it in 5, and managed to get quite a lot of pressure in a bunch of games out of this, and we'll see how he did it here. So his opponent, who in this game is Zoom, goes in 2. And this looks like a good move to me. This looks like a move that should pose some problems. Yevon has it covered from 1, but Zoom has a pretty good recapture from 3. I notice Zoom is running out of leftward power. Now that's hard to exploit against a move in 2, because it's hard to make the game leftward from there. But this is the major concession I think this move makes. But 8274 is ready to recapture back. And I do wonder, can we go 1, force them to go... Say we went 5, 8, 7, 3, and 1. My point is 8274 and 4 is comboed back by 8653 and 7. And 8274 and 3, maybe we can play something just like 7278 and 4 or something, and just build out some safety. Not sure it's a very good idea. What did he do? He goes 5, 8, 7, 3, and 1. Cool. Yeah, I intuitively quite like this move. And The solver says it is winning. Very nicely played. Nicely spotted. Yeah. The center attack. This is exactly what that video is about. Nice. 8274 in 3, the logical continuation. 7287 not in 4, but in 6. Safe and locks in a card. Doesn't need to, lock in stuff. This is the only win. My idea of going in 4 was much less ambitious and not as good. Very nice move. Zoom tries to complicate, but it's not enough. Ooh, very nice game. Very emblematic of the center attack. Interestingly, in a recent game, Yevon lost to it. In fact, Yevon has had, I think, 2 losses to setups that look like this. And it's nice to see he can execute on the other end as well. This is a very nice game. This is really kind of an ideal version of this type of play. Just running the opponent out of power, taking advantage of some up weakness in their hand, some left weakness, minimal ways to recapture. Very strong play. Really like that one. So he gets a win versus Zoom. And Zoom made like a normal move, a normal looking move, and Yevon was able to just punish and win the game on the spot. Then Yevon went on to tie Akiyama on second turn. Very nice result. Tied Cool Spot, who as we saw also placed well. Tied Delial. So at this point, he has 1 win and 5 ties, which means for the rest of the tournament, he's going to tie twice and win 13 times. Ties Delial. Ties DJ. Are we up to 6 ties? I think we're up to 6 ties. All right, 1 win, 6 ties. And now we are going to, I'm going to put in the cards. We're going to be on second turn. And we're going to be playing Tezuka. So this is going to be, a top tier opponent. And we're going to see how Yevon makes it work. Sorry for the slowdown, just putting in the cards. I, as a skilled video maker, have this all so well organized. And can edit, I have no idea how to cut bits out of videos. I'm very bad at this. I apologize. All right, so Yevon will be our blue player. Tezuka starts with 8654 and 3. A weak corner makes some sense. 8654 and 8733 are quite redundant. And the hand is a bit directed upright, though more up than right. But I think this makes some sense. Does it make sense to hold on to 8733 rather than 8654? Well, there aren't any 8s down for 8654 to plus. There are some 7s down. The 7 part overpowers anything in Yevon's hand. So, okay. No, this makes sense. And this is our first time seeing Yevon reply to a starter. And he goes with the adjacent corner. And I think adjacent corners are dictated by how well we can make the L. But against a weak corner, it's usually pretty easy to make the L. Yevon blocks the in-between square with high out facing. And the main question is, how can we play in 2 or 8 such that we set up a threat in 5? And he goes 4865 in 8, which does not set up a threat in 5. Maybe there wasn't a way to. Yeah, this doesn't capture. Maybe here? This is a kind of weird move. My point is, we give them the combo, we combo back, they combo back, we combo back, and at the end we win. I'm sure they don't have to go into that line, but it makes a threat in 5. I think the combo backs work for us. I think that's what I probably would have ended up playing, at least from a quick look. Here, I assume Tezuka should play in either 7 or if he can set something up big in 4, but probably try to take safety in 7. There's not an obvious card to do, though, there. Because there's no safety there. Maybe you do it with 5538? Because if they capture this way, you have the combo. And if they capture this way, you also have a combo. Not sure. What does Tezuka do? Tezuka goes in 4, so Tezuka goes for a big setup. And we do not have a threat on the card in 6. But 5776 does have a combo on that 8474. And it appears this move is losing. Does our hero Yevon find the win? He plays in 7. Flipping both. Interesting. What's the point? Oh, there's no down power. And if Tezuka does combo, he has just walked into a huge combo back. Nicely spotted, yes. Tezuka does go for the combo. He does combo back, and Yevon wins. Another nice win. Another game where the opponent went wrong in that... Well, I guess the first game his opponent blew it on move 2. Which incidentally is like... Often you get away with those kind of mistakes, because if you make a significant error on move 2, they still have to make so many correct moves to punish you. This is a more standard win. The opponent makes a mistake on move 5. Let's see what the AI says was the save. Ah, nice. Go me. Yevon wins again. Very nice. And then Yevon takes on Turdz and beats Turdz too. This is a really impressive run. I really like both those games so far. I think he did an L nicely without it being obvious why the L was strong, but applied real significant pressure. And the first game is just, I love center attacks like that. 5, they play somewhere and you immediately attack their cards and punish them directionally. I greatly enjoy those games. If you want more of that, check out my video on center attacks. So we're now up to 2 wins, 6 ties. Again, still doesn't look like an amazing run, but undefeated through 8 games is a really promising start, and he's about to just win so many games. Just chucks a card in 5 again. Again, kind of identifying 8-3-7-6 is sort of like 7-4-7-5, but 7-4-7-5 is a better card, especially with the opponent having a bunch of 8s going down and up. And yeah, again, he's looking at this hand. I assume this is dismissed because it's simply capturable and, doesn't find something clear and just drops a card that is redundant to the hand in 5. Turdz plays in the exact same square, plays a similar move to what Zoom lost with. Again, here is a card that's a bit difficult for you to take. For instance, if you ever take this way, I have the combo. And if you ever take this way, I can recapture. I can just take that, though not with an 8 facing up. This might actually not be a particularly bad move. But Yevon goes for a more enterprising move with 5-7-5-8, noting this capture doesn't exist anyway, just using it and saying you can't take that card from 1, and if you ever capture it from 3, you only have one way to do so, and it gives me a same with 1-8-8-3. Interesting. I always have a little difficulty calculating these line setups, where there's all the cards are in a straight line in the middle of the board, not on the sides of the board where you usually look for an L, but in the middle of the board, because there's a lot of options. This game I did look at because I talked about it with Turdz, and we think the best play would have been here, saying you gave up your capture in 9, so I'm going to block 7. You can capture this card, but it gets a card out of my hand that really doesn't play that well against your hand. All the 7s and 5s punish the 8s here. And I would like to keep 8-6-4-6 to be able to capture things you put in the far corner. But actually, this move was already losing because these Zs are really dangerous, actually. And Yevon has really good sweepers for them. And it's just nicely set up. Turdz goes here, which does block the square Yevon wants to play, right? If it was Yevon's turn, he'd probably play, he'd play the move we just saw, something like 7-4-7-5 and 3, locking in the card in 2. And so Turdz occupies that square, but again, Yevon finds a very nice finish. There is one winning move. Feel free to pause and find it, but Yevon finds it. He takes immediately, which looks like it shouldn't work because Turdz now has more cards locked in, but Yevon had calculated further and seen that 7-4-7-5 just wins the endgame. All those 8s facing down are useless, and Yevon wins. How does the game finish? Turdz plays in 7, and Yevon captures. And Yevon is up to his 3rd win, having beaten both Tezuka and Turdz, which are really high quality victories. So we're now 3 wins, 6 ties. And we're on a win streak. His next game is going to be against Sergio. I like Triple Triad. And I like tournaments. It feels like following a sporting event. I mean, it is. You know, it is following a sporting event, but it has that feel for me. I don't know if it does for other people, but I like just looking at brackets and stuff. All right. Yevon's going first. We've only seen 5 starters from him. If we were just going from what we've seen so far, I would predict him to put 7-6-4-7 in 5, I think. Because that seems the most redundant card, because there are sort of a bunch of corners that could fit in 9. But he does not. He does not. Instead, this is not his hand. My bad. No, I think it is. I think I typed something wrong. I think that we're good. All right. Instead, he goes in 4. And the obvious point is that 6-8-4-3 can recapture in 1, but the obvious question is, what about here? And Sergio indeed does play here. Apparently he just sacks the card. It says, I've created a safety for me, and now you have stuff to defend. This looks dubious. Maybe I listed the cards wrong. I may have listed the cards wrong. I think I did, because yeah, that move wasn't played though. This is not making sense to me. All right, so I have the moves to this game wrong. I apologize, and we'll move on to the next one. But Yevon wins again, moves to 4 wins. And will now be taking on Dalamar on second turn. On second turn, we've seen him reply to a corner with an adjacent corner. And I think that's the only second turn we've seen. So this will be another second turn from Yevon. Sorry for delays as I put in cards. And Dalamar starts in 1. So from what we've seen him reply to a weak corner with an adjacent corner. That doesn't mean he's likely to reply to strong corners with adjacent corners. And Dalamar has played a tough corner to deal with. Do we have any 5 setups? No, we have a serious up issue. I think this is a very strong starter from Dalamar. And he does, I think, a very reasonable thing. Chuck something in the opposite corner, give them something they have to attack that's maybe difficult. Because while Dalamar's starter is really strong, the rest of his hand doesn't seem so great, right? 3-8-1-8 is often a kind of impotent card, and 7-5-8-3 certainly can be too. Though here they both look pretty playable against Yevon's hand, and you block the corner where 8-5-1-8 might want to go. So you create some potential problems. Dalamar captures. Or doesn't capture, plays next to. That's a curious move. It looks attackable. I'm not sure if the instinct should be to go in, like, 2, trying to set things up. Or 8. Probably 8. Yevon does go in 8. And creating a threat in 5. I like that move. The AI says that did miss a win, but who's going to find that move? Okay, whatever. So Yevon makes a nice move in 8. Dalamar goes in 5, and that sort of looks like it's building safety, but maybe that same in 4 looks very juicy for later. So for instance, if Yevon went in 3, whenever you have a really good square in 1 of 2 or 4, you want to set it up so you get to play in it, and they don't get to respond. Or they don't get to respond very well. And if you play there immediately, sometimes that's usually less powerful than waiting a turn, because of course if we stick something here and they go here, our combo is much bigger, right? So it can cover for something else, and I think the instinct should be to look at the far away corner, because if you go here, there's a very good chance they block the nearby square. If you go here, blocking the nearby square is sort of playing in one of the paired squares, right? Because each square is sort of paired with the one next to it, and sort of paired with one from the opposite side of the board. 7 is paired with 3, 2 is paired with 4. 2 is also paired with 3, 4 is paired with 7. But if you start in 3, it's very unlikely for them to go 4, so you can leave 4 open for your next turn. So my guess is Yevon goes in 3. I am incorrect. There are apparently many ways to win here, though, so I will assume his move does. Ah, he has 6, 7, 8, 3, and 2 as well. I didn't notice that. So we're still playing, we have a combo square and we play a far corner from it. Dalamar tries 3. Yevon takes the big S and wins 7-3. So this is 5 wins in a row, I think. That's pretty sweet. And our next one is against Sachi. So far, this will be a first turn game. So far on first turns, we've seen a side starter, but I must have had the move order wrong on that game because that game didn't make sense the way I had it. And we've seen a bunch of center starters. Here we will be seeing another side starter. Specifically, this one. Odd move. I don't have a feel for moves of this type, these kind of weird corners. It's very recapturable for Yevon. Sachi cannot take it from 7. I guess probably the main point is as long as I keep 5, 6, 6, 8 and 4, 6, 7, 6 in my hand, you cannot play in 1 or 7. So I think the main goal is to deny safety. And then the secondary goal is to not get rid of a card that will be good in the resulting game. And also, if you used one of the other cards in 4, you wouldn't be able to recapture it from 1. So this is the only card you can put in 4 that does not give them safety in a touching square. And you can recapture always. So I guess that's probably the reasoning here. Sachi goes in 2. Yevon snags that square in 1. Sachi goes in 5. Lot of options here. I would presumably start 1 or 7, but 9 can also be good. He starts 7. And this is just winning. He has combos on like all the captures, except this one. But against that one, the fact that he has this combo threat means he could start here, and that's a pretty easy win. So Sachi tries to complicate in 9. There's actually only one win here, surprisingly. So feel free to pause to find the win. Yevon finds the only win here. Nice win. Sachi did a nice job of making that trickier, because the point is, against something like this, there's the same. And that only flips enough back to tie. This is a nice find, really nice find, and then Yevon finds a nice win. And, a square that is easy to miss, even though it is quite late in the game. And Yevon wins 6-4. Nice finish by Yevon. Really sharp at the end of games so far. I have lost track. I think we're up to 6 wins and 6 ties. And it's Sakaea who's gonna fall to Yevon next. Because Yevon is just steamrolling everyone. He's going to have second turn again. So far we've seen more of first turns, and I'm sort of more interested in his first turn play because it's been more unorthodox to my eyes, and I enjoy watching unorthodox play. I also enjoy watching Orthodox play, and I tend to play that way myself. Sakaea starts with a strong corner. No recapture from 4, though. So Yevon takes it. And Sakaea keeps capturing. So now we got to set up the L. Are we going to do so in 4 or 8? I'm going to guess 4, if I'm correct. Because it's easy to have the double threat in 5, and you may as well lock in more cards, because Sakaea has no attack on the card in 3. I assume this is winning. It is winning. Nice. He's really locked in a lot of games early. Just very, very well done. She goes in 7, which I think is probably the best you're going to try, because at least you created a safety. But now Yevon's just locking in more cards and does concede a giant combo, but has it all under control and wins 6-4. He has been sharp at the end of things and, tends to calculate one move further, making sure he has counters to combos. That was late in the game, but we also saw it in the Tezuka game, where I think Tezuka had calculated, if I get that combo, I'm good. And Yevon has been very good at looking one move further and being like, I can concede the combo, I should keep looking, see if I have anything after. Or noting, I have combo threats back, so I can allow these combos. And he has been good at being precise in the face of big combos. And I think some people really blow those positions. Our next game, he's going to have another second turn against I must admit, pretty bad hand for Wavey. But we're now going to... What are we on now? I think we're now on 8 wins, 6 ties, no losses. Great record. That'll be after this game. We'll be on that record. Yevon is just tearing it up. Wavey starts with a strong corner that Yevon can deal with a bit. Yevon has threats in 8. And Wavey has a recapture with 8-5-7-1 and a capture with 3-7-5-7 if for some reason that was needed. Which means we have 8 covered, so a natural thing to do is set up against the other side if there's a way in 3 or 5 to set up in 6. But Wavey doesn't do that. Yevon doesn't do that. He just blocks the square he has. It is safe. Makes sense. Okay. Wavey does have a weird hand. Wavey locks in the starter. And Yevon doesn't find this move. That would have been hard to find. Yevon sets up an L, which looks pretty tricky for Wavey to meet. Because... anything... Is this that bad? What if you just block 5? You just lose. There's so much outfacing, and the 7-8-6-4 is a really good up-down sweeper, and 3-7-5-7's dead. Yeah, so that's tricky then. Wavey tries to complicate in 1. And Yevon finds the only win blocking 5. Not blocking 2, which would give Wavey a double capture, but blocking 5, where again, he's willing to concede combos, right? He's again, not that you should be unwilling to concede combos, but again, he's seeing that it gives up a combo and that it can still be good because it has set him up to have counter synergies. So this wasn't played here, but the point is this can be met by that. He wins. Instead, this card blocked because it has the plus. And I assume we finished the same way. Is that correct? I've lost my place. Yes, it is. Again, a nice endgame calculation, especially with kind of 4 moves left, spotting things even when they might seem like they concede too much, and getting them to work. Yeah, another nice game. My favorite game of these is still the first one, but also the more you look at games, the kind of tireder you get of each, and you lose energy, which might be a sign to some people that I should, have a new video to look at more of the games, but never. We're going to power on through. And putting in the hand. Again, sorry for the downtime. And sorry for my mindless chatter as I try to not leave empty space. Shouldn't be afraid of empty space where there's no sound, but it feels wrong when I'm recording. Alright, Yevon is first turn. What would we expect from Yevon? We've seen these card drops in 5. Oh no, Yevon is second turn. Okay. Next game we'll be worried about it. Random Hero starts in 2, and Yevon grabs safety in 3. Not in 1. I haven't really looked at the position. Why is that? That is because you have this card covered here, but not here. Makes a lot of sense. Random Hero makes a somewhat strange move. And Yevon keeps grabbing those safe squares. And again, he has already locked up the win. Capture back here, but that is quite susceptible to many combos. Which one will he take? He'll take this one. Is that a good one to take? It sure is. And he gets the 9-1 on second turn, a rare sighting. And he's just won so many games in a row here. Now he's facing Aicila, who, as I do this, is currently in the quarterfinals of SE Nephilim, and I think has been, to this point, possibly the best player in the tournament. I think good, efficient hand-making, good, efficient play has just been very precise and forceful. And going to be another to fall to the Yevon machine. Alright, so Yevon is first turn. What would we expect from Yevon? I'd probably expect 3-7-4-8 or 3-7-5-8 and 5. This looks like a tough hand to win with. 4-4-8-8 is not going to be our starter because that's covered. Yeah, I'd expect one of the side-to-sides in 5. Get rid of the redundant card. That feels like the Yevon thing to do. Am I right? No, I am wrong. So I think Yevon, one thing I suspect Yevon does is he checks the opponent's hand directionally, as we should all do, and then if they have a direction where he consistently overpowers them, he plays such that they won't have the safe square next to it. And here he is 2 8s facing down, and their highest facing up is a 7, so he's going to start with this weird side starter. Not a high number facing 5. It's much more to deny them safety than to grant himself safety. And this might be a nice way to apply pressure on people. He also makes sure to do it a way he can take back. 3-7-4-8 he also would have been able to take back. I wonder if he considered that as well. But it might be a nice move type to confuse opponents with. Aicila goes in 1, which intuitively looks quite strong to me. Really hard for our hand to address. This is comboed. Yeah, looks difficult. Goes in 9. This looks very dangerous. Something to 6 seems like it should be right. I'm not sure if 7-4-4-7 or 6-3-7-7. Both look like they could be it. I'm not sure. Aicila plays 7-4-4-7. What does the AI think? Should have been 6-3-3-7. Okay, that's hard to differentiate. But still, this looks very difficult. How is Yevon gonna sneak out of this one? He plays the only non-losing move, 4-8-8-4 and 5. This is a very tricky position, but he finds the save. I don't want to spend time going through this position because there's a ton left to it. Because with 5 moves left, there's so much to calculate, so I'm just going to trust the AI here and say, fantastic move. And actually, apparently Aicila only has 1 save here, and must find this move, which is not a trivial move to find at all. Aicila does not find it, plays 3-8-3-6 and 2, and 7-3-8-4 is a good up-down sweeper. And this is going to be another win. really pulled out of what looked very dangerous. When you can pull wins out of that kind of position, you're playing well and finding really nice ways to attack your opponents. Or getting quite lucky, can be the case too. It can also be both. Does the win streak end here? No, he's now about to beat SirSmokes. Just an insane run here. I'm not sure how many he's won in a row, but I think it's 10? I think this might be the 10th in a row. Crazy. Really well done. So let's bring up the game, make sure everything's recording correctly. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, cool. So Smokes starts with a half-strong corner that can be recaptured, and Yevon has no attack in 8. So my instinct would be to set up something to do an 8, but like from what we've seen of Yevon, he's just as liable to just block 4 or play in an opposite corner. I am very unsure of how he likes to reply to starters here. He does go opposite corner. This makes sense. It is almost safe, and the only recapture, there's a recapture. Smokes builds out from his safe starter. Again, this looks like a tough spot for Yevon, and yet he's going to come out of this one. So sets up the 5 threat, but importantly, you want to set up the 5 threat where you're not giving them any combos. Here he is giving them a combo, right? If Smokes goes in 1 and he plays 7, 5, 8, 3, and 5, he concedes 5, 7, 4, 8 in 6. That looks very dangerous. Will Smokes go in 1? Smokes does not go in 1. So what if he plays here? That ties. That's hard to find. Is there a simpler tie? Apparently he can just block 5 with one of the other cards. That makes sense. That's very findable. Just taking safety. And have just enough up-down power to tie. Interesting. Or just enough side to... Yeah. Okay. Curious. Alright, so we would have survived there. But instead of playing in 1, Smokes goes in 9. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I remember I saw this. He thought this was an interesting move. Complicate the game. But Yevon's been just seeing everything. Just comfortably takes, locking in the card in 3. And... gets himself another win. So that's, I think, 10 in a row. It's many in a row. There might have been a tie in there. But now we're going to get a win against Affogato, because just keeps winning. I am mentioning when there are ties on this path. There are just, you know, after those first 6 ties, there have been so few, if any. We're going to have second turn again. And Affogato starts in 2. Yevon has tended to play next to those when he can safely. So I would guess he'd do something with this, but he doesn't. He just plays in 9. Affogato captures from 6. He's been very good at taking safe squares whenever offered. And so I assume he's going to go 3. He does not. He grabs this one with the point that he creates a threat in 5 as well. Okay, that's tricky. Apparently it loses to this move. That is difficult to find. It was not played. Instead, 1 was occupied. And now, Yevon throws in some spice. This looks wrong. Do I have who's who wrong? No, I think Affogato just let this one go. Plays 8, 5, 7, 1, and 7. Yevon has that same in 5 he set up earlier, and wins 6-4. Alright, that one was a little messy, but yeah, we all make mistakes, and he's played so well. And the next one, you won't believe it, he wins it too. Just a tremendous run. It's so hard to win this many games in a row. Because even if you're like a 75% win rate player, which like no one is, you know, a 70 win percent player, their odds of winning 2 games in a row is like basically just 50%. It's 49, but basically 50. And so like even if you're somewhere around there, your odds of winning, you know, 4 or 5 games in a row against randomized opponents is so low that this is really one of the absolutely crazy good runs. Yevon starts in 5 here. Now, if we were thinking, what would Yevon do here? Well, I think we check. Yes, so this is telling. Villalva has an 8 in every direction. And I think if he didn't, Yevon would be very likely to do something like, I don't know, here, not that card because he can't take it back from 9. But like, if Villalva didn't have an 8 facing up, I could very easily see Yevon playing something like this, which he can recapture, and Villalva would have no safety. But Villalva has an 8 in every direction. Therefore, we go to plan B, and we play in 5 with a redundant card. These 2 cards are pretty stupid. Gets rid of this one. Interesting. I would have maybe got rid of the other one if I was going to. Maybe. It's pretty useful to keep coverage of that 8-8 corner. But I still probably would have done the other one. Villalva goes in 1. Yevon has this pretty well covered. But he center attacks again. Yes, immediately grabbing safety and forcing the action. Villalva goes in 2. Villalva has survived a position like this against me where I thought I was completely winning, and he found a miracle save. But in fact, Yevon is winning. Not that move, just grabbing more safety. And he has locked in too many cards. The center attack prevails again. He noted that this recapture, we can build out safety. This doesn't recapture. This doesn't recapture. There's a left weakness. And this can be comboed. I wonder if this is already a winning position. There are 2 ties, and they're both in 9. So practically, this is just winning. Really nice play, yeah. The center attack can win the game very early on. Villalva tries to complicate, as he always does. I think he's a really smart player at making complexity in tricky positions. And Yevon gets another win. Another one I really liked. Love the center attack. And the next game, the win streak ended with a loss to Reddick, where he mentioned he could have saved it. We could look at it, but we're not looking into losses. We're just doing the wins right now. He loses to Reddick, and he loses to Was Up me. And that ends his tournament. So it ended, his last 2 games were his only 2 losses. He played 21 games before he lost a single game of open random. He had some bad randoms in there. 21 games in, he had 14 wins to 7 ties. His best wins were probably Tezuka and Turdz, purely by like strength of opponent. He also had a tie to Delial, a tie to Akiyama. So of the other members of the top 6, he had 2 wins, 2 ties, 1 loss. Against people who didn't make the top 6, he had 1 loss, 5 ties, and 12 wins. And just incredible run in the mid-late. And really earned second place here in a very strong field with a lot of good players. I enjoyed seeing his center starters. I think he played them well. It was a nice win against Turdz with a lot of kind of pressure I didn't expect. I think his center attacks were really on point. His win against Villalva and his win early on, I'm forgetting against Zoom, I really like those games. It's just one of my favorite move sequences is 5, they go somewhere, you go next to it, and just punish their directional weaknesses. And he did a really wonderful job of that. Also, interesting side starters. These ones saying, I'm going to look at your hand, see which way you are directionally weakest, and play such that you don't have safety facing kind of the opposite way, right? So if you have no ups, he plays 8. If you have no downs, he plays 2. If you have no left, he plays 6. If you have no right, he plays 4, right? It's not, if you're weak down, I'm going to play 8 such that the direction of the game is facing down, or I'm going to play something at the bottom so that it's hard for you to attack. No, if you have no downs, he wants to play in 2 so that you can't play next to it in the sort of half safeties created in 1 and 3 while being safe. And I think that fits with the center attack style of it is much more focused on going after the cards you play than making sure his own are safe. I hope these were interesting games to look at. Again, I think Yevon did a really nice job, and I enjoyed watching his games. And in my open ELO ratings, he rocketed up to 3rd of anyone around at one point in this, and by the end of it, I think dropped down to 4th of anyone on the site right now. And there's a lot of really strong players on the site right now. So huge props to Yevon. Great tournament. Also, all of Delhi, Turdz, Tezuka, and Akiyama played great tournaments and could have easily run away with it. But really, really powerful top 6 and unbelievable run by Yevon in the middle of it. Congrats.